Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to point out, expands our base. Quick personal note, I will be off, returning on September 2nd. Taking a few weeks off, taking a vacation. So we'll have to monitor the news, and I'll have a lot to talk about when I return. Well, the announcement was made this morning. We now know who the nominee will be with Kamala Harris for Vice President of the United States. He wasn't in the top tier. In fact, I looked back through my file to see if he was even mentioned several weeks ago, and the answer is no. So let's talk about Tim Walz. Like the other governors who are being discussed and have been discussed, and, well, even one senator, Mark Kelly, Tim Walz doesn't have much of a national profile. In fact, had you ever heard of him before? Most people had not. And that also means he's a relatively blank slate. That means that he can be defined by the Democrats and the Republicans. And it's already begun. If I may make a bad pun, he's waltzing into the national spotlight. And of course, people don't know him, which is an advantage and a disadvantage. He wasn't included in most polls. He was not somebody who was well known. But the simple truth is, he served 12 years in the House of Representatives. And there he was very effective dealing with veterans affairs and because of his military background. But let's take it a step further. I think one of the compelling reasons why Tim Walz will be the Democratic nominee for vice president is because of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi loves the guy, enthusiastically supported him. And by the way, the progressives like him too, which is a good thing from the point of view of Kamala Harris. He also coined a term which seems to apply to Donald Trump and Senator Vance, and that is weird. Weird. It's a new talking point to describe the Republican ticket. It's a line now being used widely, and frankly, it's absolutely fascinating. Also important to note that Tim Walz leads the Democratic Governors Association. This is a guy with Midwestern roots, born in Nebraska, comes to Minnesota. Oh, wait, Minnesota. One might say it is recently the mother state of vice presidents. Hubert Humphrey, Walter Mondale, and now Tim Walz. It's a very interesting development in terms of what Minnesota brings to the ticket. So Tim Walz may have been the best choice. Oh, I should point out, a former history teacher in high school, and a former football coach. I mean, the guy has a little bit of everything for everybody. But he brings one thing that Kamala Harris really needed. That is executive experience. Now, she has executive experience, make no mistake. When you run the DA's office or the Attorney General's office, you have to have executive experience. But Tim Walz is a governor of a Midwestern state who brings with him that gravitas. And it will be interesting to see, as the rollout takes place today, how he fits in, how he's embraced. Somebody said to me, but he looks so old. Actually, he's only a few years older than Kamala Harris. So we're going to have to see how the Republicans respond, how the Democrats respond. But this morning, already there's great excitement. Now, the question is, why not Josh Shapiro? And the answer is, although Pennsylvania is important, Josh Shapiro, young, ambitious, in his first term as governor, also the fact that he is a Jew and an active supporter of Israel, certainly influenced Kamala Harris. And the reason is because Michigan is in sway. We've got to get Michigan, from the Democratic point of view, into the winner's column. So there are a lot of pluses, a lot of minuses. But the interesting thing is that this man, who wasn't even talked about a few weeks ago, is now going to be the nominee of the party for vice president. Does it matter that he is unknown? No, I think it's actually a good thing. He'll be able to define himself. It's good that he has support among Democratic governors. It's good that he has support and experience from his service in the House of Representatives. He's a guy who, well, may be a clean slate, but we're going to learn a lot about Tim Walz. So now we know the ticket. Now we know what's happening. It's exciting and certainly will energize the Democrats. How will the Republicans respond? Well, we're all waiting for that. I heard a few reports this morning. They're already going after Walz as too progressive, as a wannabe West Coaster. I mean, all sorts of things that, frankly, I don't think are going to fly. The opposition to Walz from the Republicans will have to really research his record, get down to the brass tacks, and figure out what his weaknesses are. Remember, with Senator Vance, there are weaknesses, easily point outable. What will Vance do on a stage with Walz? And what will Walz do on the stage with Vance? That's going to be fun. Remember, the American people don't vote for a vice president. They vote for a president. The last time a vice presidential nominee had any impact was Lyndon Johnson back in 1960, and he carried Texas for the Democratic ticket. So let's take a hard look at Walz. Let's see how he is received in the Midwest. Let's see how he is rolled out so people have a chance to get him. And I can't tell you how excited I am. All right, this is going to be my last podcast until September 2nd. I'm off on vacation. I regret it to a degree, but, well, the world will continue to turn, and Around the Political World with John Rothman will continue on September 2nd. And in the meantime, follow the news. I can assure you I will be doing just that. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along. Let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. And of course, you can interact with me on Facebook and LinkedIn. And to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this program, thanks, Gogo, and have a good vacation. If I'm out, she's out. I'll be back right here with you on September 2nd. I can hardly wait. And then we continue Around the Political World with John Rothman. Thank you so much.